Hi everyone, I'm Konstantakopoulos, Business Innovation Lead at Future Everything. A quick intro for those that might not know Future Everything. For the last 25 years, we have been developing innovative digital arts and culture projects, enabling a global community of artists, technologies, and industry collaborators. Today, together, we're going on a journey. We will be exploring the intersection of arts, innovation, tech, data, and society. Now, throughout this journey, I hope to share knowledge, provide insights into our creative practice and arts thinking, as we discuss the link between art and innovation, cross-sector applications of arts and creative thinking, and the importance of arts in science and technology. What is the link between art and innovation? If you ask Google this question, it will come up probably with something like 819 million results. Now, if you scroll through those, you will identify articles from MIT Technology Review, Harvard, Stanford, the World Economic Forum, and the list goes on. Let's have a look into that. Now, I will try to bring clarity to the terms that I'm discussing and keep everyone on the same page. Now, what is innovation? What do we mean when we say innovation? For me, it's a new way to accomplish a goal, to make our lives or jobs easier, better, happier, more exciting, satisfying, or productive, etc., etc. It's about achieving a step change by creating a new way to do something, taking inspiration from existing knowledge. And what is art? Now, I'm probably the last person to try and define arts, but I'll try to keep it simple. Now, art is the expression of or application of human creative skill and imagination. It typically results to some form of visual or sound form, but art is not just about the creation of physical structures. It's also about culture, values, ethics, and many other things that can expand our horizons. These are the things that enables us to interrogate the world and knit together the fabric of our society. You might have noticed there is an underlying pattern between arts and science and technology creations and the thinking around that. There is a creative, imaginative process empowered by curiosity, a state of mind that sees no boundaries and sets to explore the impossible. Now, let's see some cross-sector applications of art and creative thinking. I think we're all synced now, so let's explore some of that. Is what you see on your screen art or an innovation? I see an innovative way to represent an event using arts. Now, let me ask you, did you know that twice daily, the European Space Agency flagship satellite, Sentinel-1A, passes over our heads? That is the event that I mentioned. Sentinel-1A maps the land and sea, capturing things like forestry, agriculture, and weather conditions, and supports climate prediction, modeling, and our understanding of the climate crisis. Kasia Molga and Scanner developed this simple software that would appear in different forms on our screen. It would pop out whenever Sentinel-1A was overhead, connecting us in real time with visible networks above, invisible networks above and below. This is just one of the initiatives and outcomes we developed as part of the GROW Observatory project. The work you see is named by the Code of Soil. It has been developed as part of the GROW Observatory, which is funded by the European Union Research and Innovation Programme under Horizon 2020. And it's been developed with fault lines artist Kasia Molga and sound artist Scanner. During the course of 3 years, GROW Observatory deployed more than 14,000 sensors across Europe, starting with 9 countries and slowly onboarding a total of 15. The GROW Observatory soil sensors were gathering 3 key indicators: soil moisture, temperature, and light data. Soil moisture is an essential climate variable, and measuring soil moisture at a global scale is a major challenge for satellite science. We have designed and deployed a number of interventions to transform complex data to meaningful visualizations that everyone can understand. What you see here is a map of the network in its initial form. And when you click in one of those countries areas that you see on the screen, you see a representation of the layout of the sensor network and the timeline of the gathered data, as you can see on the right of the screen. These 14,000 sensors I mentioned before have been deployed by citizens, people like you and me, with an ultimate goal to improve the accuracy of the satellite observations from space. That's why GROW Observatory is called the Citizen Observatory, which is set to enable citizens in becoming citizen scientists. No, you don't need a PhD, but it might come handy, depending how much hands-on you want to go. The whole approach and way of doing things is based on the principle that citizens in today's societies have a much more active role, should have a much more active role to play in being part of the solution when you are looking into challenges like the climate crisis. The whole project has pushed the boundaries of what we can achieve if we work together. 18 organizations, an amazing mixture and diverse type of thinking and approach. This is what I'm talking about. Academic institutions like TU Wayne and the University of Dundee, non-profit organizations like the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, an Internet of Things SME, an Arts and Innovation Labs organization, the Met Office, and so many more, all working together. And you know what we have achieved? I know this slide is getting a bit geeky. Simply put, we have managed to validate satellite data using citizen-generated data. We managed to create a link between the two. This piece of work, what you see now on your screen, comes from the University of Miskolc. We need to give credits. Now, coming back to this, it uses GROW Observatory data to generate the art form every time the satellite passes over our head. I think the most accurate description for what we see is that it's a data-driven digital artwork. That's how we describe it, at least. Now, shall we see a bit more of cross-sector application of art and creative thinking? Remember the pattern between arts, science, and technology, the underlying factors, creativity, imagination, curiosity. When applied to one of these big tech events, one of the biggest, actually, tech events in the world, we imagine a space where people could practice upcycling. So starting from what you see on your screen and using a number of different tools, like even 3D printing and a number of other things on a makerspace, we brought people together to create things. So from that waste that you saw, we are going to what you see on your screen now. So we explored the idea that after the end of the life cycle of a product, you take it and use it in some other form. That is what we call upcycling. So we created an experience that allowed people to do just that. Now, why is it important for the arts thinking and in science and technology? Why is this type of thinking so important? Did you know that when Albert Einstein felt out of sync while working out general relativity theory, he would pull out his violin and play Mozart, and he would do so until he could reconnect to what he called the harmony of the spheres. On the other hand, a statement from a figure that you will all recognize. I always thought of myself as a humanities person as a kid, but I liked electronics. Steve Jobs said that to Walter Isaacson when they embarked on his biography. But why should we be bothered? Like, why is this so important? Scientific and technological innovations and achievements were a core element of the Industrial Revolution. The thinking that has been developed in the process have brought us to today. What will the future look like if we continue applying the same way of thinking? What will be the outcome as we push for an equitable, inclusive and diverse society for everyone around the world? What will happen as the so-called developing world starts using more and more the so-called developed world technologies and innovations, applying the same type of thinking? We need to apply a different type of thinking. We need to apply a different approach in problem solving and bring the arts thinking as a core element to it. I'm not saying that this is the solution to everything and all of our challenges, but it is surely one of the things that we need to do more. A more creative and diverse thinking approach to problem solving and saving solutions. In conclusion, art thinking and innovative thinking are very similar. It's a very similar type of thinking. When combined with a diverse group of people, individuals, and organizations working together, they can achieve amazing things. We need more of this type of approach and thinking to achieve a better way of approaching problem solving and innovation. Thank you.
Well, thanks, George. That was amazing. I really liked the discussion of involving real people in your work, and I think that's something that's close to our hearts at ODI Leeds. People talk a lot about citizen science, but you've actually done it, and I think if you could just talk us through why it's a good thing to do, I guess.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks for inviting me and for having me as a speaker. I think citizen science for me is something that is like really forward thinking, and I can see so many organizations actually trying to approach to like simplify a bit what that is actually providing the tools and support and the processes, creating the operations for people to be able to contribute into decision making or into informing potential innovations. So I think citizen science is something that we have used in these particular projects, and we couldn't actually achieve what we have achieved. We have achieved to validate satellite products using data generated from citizens. So people having sensors in the backyard, not as simple as I describe it here, but practically almost that, have managed to validate satellites, which is like, it's quite interesting approach, isn't it?
It's amazing, and I think it democratizes a lot of work, and it also cuts down barriers between people's expectations of how technology should be applied, and it also gives us a way to develop things quicker and faster. So yeah, and particularly, and also get people involved in policy development and how people do make things better. So yeah, that's really interesting. And what do you think is going to happen next with your projects and how you're applying them?
So this project, the one that I talked about, the Grow Observatory, was a European funded project. Probably I should say this, under the Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. Now the specific project has finished, but many innovations have spun out of that. Like there is an SME, we worked together with the Open Data Institute. I think it was like specifically the team in London, and we've invited an SME to be part of the process. They used the generated data into agricultural processes and trying to improve the understanding of the crops and the actual potential harmful events that might happen, but also understanding the cycles in a better way of the production.
Fantastic. So George, thanks so much for joining us today on the Northernlands over in Manchester, and I'm sure we'll be doing some more work together in the future.
Perfect. Yes.